want to take you now to a Karoline Leavitt press briefing where she was confronted on one specific story of this, but now we have so many, a surge in reports of people being harassed, wrongfully detained, arrested because of mistaken identities or the whim of an ICE officer, often because of the way that they look, with no regard for their rights, and then they're treated horribly, traumatized in some cases. The latest example is a 15-year-old disabled high schooler who was treated like a criminal wrongfully, and Karoline Leavitt struggled to answer this question and then ended her presser.
Yes. There are a lot of reports that ICE agents detained a 15-year-old student with disabilities outside an LA high school, even leaving bullets on the sidewalk. How does the Trump administration plan to ensure parents that their children can return to school without fear of being wrongfully detained or endangered by federal agents?
Where'd you see that report?
LA Times.
Okay, well, I'll have to look into the veracity of that report. I read the LA Times almost every single day, and they are notorious for misleading the public. I'm sure there's more to that story than the way that you just characterized it. This administration wants to ensure that all school children across the country in every city from Los Angeles to DC can go to school safely, and that's part of this administration's effort to federalize the National Guard in Washington, to ensure that ICE is removing child predators. I just read you a list of a handful, just a handful, of the hundreds of thousands of child predators that this administration is removing off of the streets of Los Angeles and every other community across this country, because we want to ensure this is a country where American school children can be safe, where they can prosper, and where they are not threatened by violent criminals, whether they are illegal or whether they are American citizen homegrown criminals, as this president calls them. So I will gladly go check on that report, and I'll get you the facts. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
I think she almost certainly won't. I have a bold prediction. I think she almost certainly will not go look into that story. And when her first response is essentially that's probably fake news because the LA Times, but there's so many people reporting on it, it's not handling it with the sensitivity it deserves. Also, she talks about going after child predators. Great. However many child predators you've locked up or you've deported, I'm happy with. There is one child predator who you seem to be treating with kid gloves.
President Trump.
Well, yeah, that too I wasn't actually thinking of. Well, we don't know on that, but Ghislaine Maxwell, actually, I'll get back to this, but I was going to say in this segment, Ghislaine Maxwell cleared to leave prison on work release. Are we trying to get her to commit suicide? Are we trying? On work release? Oh, as she's in this extra cushy prison. But that's for later. We'll get back to it. The story that Leavitt was asked about, another California school district is expanding safe zones after a disabled student was mistakenly detained at gunpoint by immigration agents near a high school. There are countless cases like this one. The student who attends San Fernando High School has gone to Arleta High with his grandmother to accompany a relative registering for classes. They put him in cuffs, etc. The principal ended up being able to get the kid released. So that's the story. And just as I said, one headline like this after another. I won't play this one for you. Honestly, I hate to be this person. It makes me a little bit too sad, but Trump supporting couple slams president after being stopped by ICE. He stole our vote, and this was two people who both voted for Trump and then were just driving around, got pulled over and car searched and nothing wrong, and they were harassed, they say, because of the way that they looked. Now, back to the presser. You know how Trump twice at his presser said he was traveling to Russia to meet with Putin instead of Alaska, which is where he's meeting with Putin on Friday?
This is a tragic emergency, and it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday. I don't like being up here talking about how unsafe and how dirty and disgusting this once beautiful cap.
So he said it once, but then he did indeed say it again. Does he really think he's going to Russia?
It's going to be a big thing. We're going to Russia. That's going to be a big deal. What happens, happens. I'll let you know what happens. You'll be the first to know.
So he's either having a weird mental glitch, or he thinks he's, as I said before, he's so bought into the Putin talking points that he thinks that Alaska is still a part of Russia, or he believes it's rightfully Russia's. I don't know. Either way, not great. And so then Leavitt was asked to explain. Trump said this twice, and her answer is so ridiculous. Hearing people who know that he made a mistake try to never admit that the king made a mistake is really cringy to watch. While you're watching, please do click the subscribe button. It's free, but it supports us algorithmically if you appreciate this show and if you're not yet subscribed.
Charlie.
The president said at the podium yesterday twice that he was planning to go to Russia. Was that a verbal slip-up, or does he actually plan to go to Russia?
Perhaps there are plans in the future to travel to Russia. And on Friday, the president will be meeting with the Russian President Vladimir Putin in Alaska, as you know.
There are no plans. Didn't he say on Friday? Wait. No. We're not letting you get away with that.
This is a tragic emergency. And it's embarrassing for me to be up here. You know, I'm going to see Putin. I'm going to Russia on Friday.
Well, excuse me, fake news. Excuse me. The president is saying that maybe there are plans in a future Friday, at
2
some
weeks.
Friday in the future. He might be going, hey, how do you know? He doesn't just know that 3 months from now on a Friday, he's going to be meeting with Putin in Russia. Do you really know? Okay, maybe you should get your facts straight. LA Times. Wow. Maybe he's talking about future. Just say he messed up. Can you never say that? She also said they're honored that Putin would come onto American soil. Honored? The other thing, Trump's so enamored by Putin, he doesn't get, Trump's the one doing Putin a favor here. Now, if in some miraculous situation he facilitated through this deal the greatest peace deal and actually provides security guarantees Ukraine is actually good, then I give him credit. Obviously, we all fear, like has happened over and over, that Putin's playing Trump. And that this meeting is another chance to make Trump feel like Putin's taking peace seriously, so that in a moment where he needs it right now in this war, he can prevent further pressure from Trump's in, because Trump's going, well, he met with me, and so we can't be as harsh as we would have been otherwise. But Trump allowing Putin onto American soldier with what Putin, I said it again, soil, with what Putin has done, is the U.S. doing the huge favor. It's not an honor for us.
So the president is very honored and looks forward to hosting President Putin on American soil. So.
Oof. I thought it was Russian soil. I'm confused. This is getting confusing. This is a total, just because we're on Trump gaffes, this is a total random tangent. But I saw he said this at a speech.
The Biden administration was auctioning off border wall materials, but we're hearing now that the auctioneer is selling those materials back. Are you finishing building the wall?
Well, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and I was getting very close. I actually finished the wall, but then I added another 200 miles because...
Think of that. He was getting close while simultaneously he had finished the wall, the southern border wall, and also he added more after he finished it. Okay, so he was getting close to finishing it while he had already finished it, while he was adding more to it. It reminds me of, what was it on like the UK trade deal? He said, this is maxed out. It's all maxed out, but we have much more to add to it. It's completely done, but we have a lot to add to it. Listen to that one more time.
Well, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and I was getting very close. I actually finished the wall, but then I added another 200 miles because when you do the original wall that I said I was going to build, which I got built, and I got it to the specifications of the Border Patrol and ICE, the exact. They wanted steel, they wanted concrete inside, they wanted rebar inside that, they wanted it to have wires. We have the walls are wired for, all of the internet stuff and security things.
Yeah. So that the migrants can have Wi-Fi.
Just on the BLS, they collect the inflation data.
Oh no, my computer's going rogue. What the heck? Hey, I didn't mean to make fun of Wi-Fi. You don't have to attack me because of that, computer. Now, one thing that's happening is Trump's new nominee, which we'll get to in a different segment, for the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner position after he removed the other one because he didn't like that she was accurately telling us what was going on in the economy, said, we're going to go ahead probably and pause jobs reports until we can figure out what's going wrong with them. Okay, we're going to make sure they're more accurate, but until then, we're not going to give you any information, is the idea that's being considered, which is insane. I mean, that's obviously, what do you mean you're going to wait until you can figure out how to make it more accurate? Wait until you can fudge the numbers? Well, what? And Leavitt confirms that, yeah, that's being considered.
Just on the BLS, they collect the inflation data, obviously. If the jobs data is not reliable, should Americans trust the inflation data?
Well, look, the jobs data has had massive revisions. We want to ensure that all of the data, the inflation data, the jobs data, any data point that is coming out of the BLS is trustworthy and is accurate, which is why the president has restored new leadership at the BLS.
Okay, so that was the wrong clip, but that was her talking about, do I have that clip? Yeah, I have the other one I referenced, but that's her saying yes. Because the big question that I think most rational Americans have is, if Trump is going to fire people, right now he's talking about bringing a lawsuit against, this is kind of separate, but Jerome Powell for not doing what he wants at the Federal Reserve. But if he's going to push people out of the administration when they give numbers that he doesn't like about his economy, how can we trust those numbers? Leavitt's response is because he's going to install people to give the numbers that he wants, which obviously is completely the opposite of what would make us feel more confident. But this is actually the one that I referenced.
Nominee for BLS Commissioner E.J. Antoni recently told Fox Business that the BLS should suspend issuing monthly job reports and only issue quarterly reports until the jobs data methodology is corrected. So does the president disagree with that assessment that his nominee has said there, or suspending these monthly job reports a real option?
I think he floated the idea of possibly suspending until they can get the data and the methodology in order. And this president wants to ensure that the BLS, again, is putting out accurate and honest data that the American people can trust. Since you brought up the new commissioner, he holds a master's and doctor's degree in economics from Northern Illinois.
So that's her, she's defensive because he's not qualified for the position, is what she was getting into listing off there. Then the Ghislaine Maxwell question, what they did with the grand jury, trying to get the grand jury documents, even the judge called it out, was so transparently them, number one, knowing that request was going to be rejected, and the type of information that was revealed in that setting would not be anything new. It would be the documents they have access to that would have new information. And so it was a tricky game they played to act like, oh no, watch Leavitt. She goes, oh darn, oh, the judge turned it down.
Another question on something that happened yesterday, but I wanted to get the White House response. A judge ruled that the grand jury transcripts in Ghislaine Maxwell's case should not be released. What's the White House response to that? And do you plan to appeal? And what do you tell President Trump supporters who want that information released?
We think that decision is unfortunate. Of course, we moved to unseal.
Ah, damn it. Ah, shoot. We really...
Dadgummit.
Dadgummit. Shoot, we mother-loving... Shit. That one wasn't as funny. Shit. Well, I guess that's just the end of it, isn't it? Jaden... I love it. You knew that's what was going to happen. That's why you did it. And even if they released those transcripts, as the judge said, nothing new is in those because of the type of stuff that was brought for the grand jury compared to what law enforcement and the federal government could have their hands on. Well, we think this is unfortunate.
And what do you tell President Trump supporters who want that information released?
We think that decision is unfortunate. Of course, we moved to unseal that information because the president has said he wants to see credible evidence released. As for the appeal process, I would defer you to the Department of Justice for that.
I hate to be this guy who always brings up The Office, but there's an Office episode where Dwight is tasked with selecting a new healthcare plan, and he selects a really terrible one, and Michael, the boss, made him do it so that Michael wouldn't get blamed for a bad healthcare plan. And then he walks out to the group who says, he's giving us a terrible new healthcare plan. And he goes, what are they talking about, Dwight? You're giving them a bad healthcare plan? Dwight's like, that's right, I slashed spending, it's going to be great. And Michael goes, okay, well, Jan needs it by 5, and it's past 5. Dang it! That's this. Oh, you're telling me now they rejected. Well, chewy. I guess we can't ever talk about the Epstein thing again, huh? Is that where? Life sucks, doesn't it? No, we're in this. I'm with you. We both are mad. Yeah, sure. Now, I already said this to you, but convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell has reportedly been cleared to leave prison on work release after she was already put in the minimum security prison in Texas. And that just seems wrong. Isn't she like in real doesn't she need to, not just because she should be punished significantly, and that was already undermined by this shift to this prison, but also, like, I feel like she could get attacked if she's anywhere other than in a very secure spot. And we don't want another orange blob floating into her work release program. What work? Can you imagine you're on a work release? What do they even do there? I don't know. You're like hammering something. Well, someone's like, yeah, this is a tough day's work. And you're like, are you Ghislaine Maxwell? Oh, gosh. I'm just really good with a screwdriver. Share your thoughts in the comments.